because that was the easiest to do. And tomorrow I have another opportunity to share that with you. But in brief, this course we started. We have enrolled 24, school dropouts. We particularly set the criteria as the eligibility as school dropouts. If somebody has passed, he is not eligible. And we made a point because in Indian society, particularly if you fail any exam, you don't get the social status. So we said, let's give them the social status this way. So those who are failed in high school or intermediate, they are the eligible candidates for this course. And this 1-year course, and we have charged a nominal fee also. And we have designed the course curriculum ourselves. We have chosen the faculty ourselves. And we find that the faculty available through the ICR system, through the universities, is too high-end, because they will talk knowledge which probably for a school dropout and high intermediate dropout may be very difficult to understand. So therefore we have chosen the faculty carefully, and internally we have developed them. It's a 75 days classroom teaching, and 75 days classroom teaching, and after that it's the rest of the year is on-the-job training. And on-the-job training means they will learn how to operate a laser leveler, how to operate a zero-drill machine, how to operate a combine harvester, how to operate a reaper, how to repair them, with what kind of safety measures they need to know. Those kind of things we are training them. And we have tied up with John Deere, which incidentally is also a partner in the AIP. So we have got a long-term MOU with John Deere, and we are doing it, and I tell you the experience so far has been wonderful. So my request would be that I think the point which was made earlier, that there is a time that industry and university, our education system needs to collaborate more to focus on the skills which is needed. Because if mechanization is the way forward, the skill needs to be developed, and that's what extension is all about. Because extension is not what we go and teach the farmer, because it is now the decision making is in the hands of machines. It is no more with the farmers, and those machines will take the decisions, and therefore you need to develop the skills to drive these machines so that input usage is proper and judicious, and we grow the agriculture. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I wish I could go through 75 days course. You could admit me. Going by what Dr. Mittal said, working with industry, so do you see a great opportunity for Tatas to create chairs in universities and bring in professional support, in terms of supporting, all this translational effort there?
Yeah, actually I forgot to mention, we are looking very, very badly for the university, because if I give them a certificate with Tata stamp on it, probably it will not carry the market value. So we are looking for institutions to give them at least a certificate. We will do the rest of the job. So that's the first part, and we are very openly seeking it, and we have already contacted the universities and institutes in this regard. We are getting positive response, but there is a hesitation, because this course and the type of training which we are conducting is all first time, so people are still, it's evolving. So we are very much keen to, in fact our management has been asking that look for a credible institution whose certificate will carry a lot of weight for these school dropouts. So that way we are very much...
I think there's a synergy there. You see IIP partners designing the diploma program, short-term program, vocational programs. I think they could certainly make it more focused on needs of input providers such as you, service providers such as you. We were just studying recently for the last year and a half the way transplantation was taking place in rice farms in southern India. Because the shortage of labor in South India is far more than North India, because all of them flock to the IT industry. It's crazy. I mean, the whole villages are left with geriatric community. That's reality. Absolutely. Yeah. So they brought this transplanters, mechanization, and they don't know how to operate it. 60% of the machines are down in the first year.
Yes.
All these Japanese machines are superb, but they have electronics in the bed, and our people flood the whole field, right? So within a month, all the electronics go junk. And operators come from, as you said, UP or some of these states, and it's phenomenal task to get this going, and they don't know what a clay soil is. You know, they don't know the soil conditions there. So I think there is a big opportunity, but we were telling all the universities in southern India, get involved in this process. And I know Tamil Nadu University has done a great job in working with farmers in mechanization of the rice field. So I think there is a big potential for triggering this more practical oriented 75-day exposure, you know, and then field oriented
yeah, just wanted to share on this mechanized paddy transplanter. We also bought one. And we took it to the field with whatever knowledge we had, and when it ran for about 5-7 minutes, it sank in that field. Then we had to get a big crane to take it out. And that crane, with a lot of difficulty, reached there, took the machine out, but got stuck. So we waited for a month before the field got dried and crane could come out.
Yeah, well, that's the reality. I think this is translation of, you know, technology available out there for practical applications here. I think Dave, you've been from the Midwest, and your university has done phenomenal work with grain growers in the region there. So how do you engage your own faculty in this kind of translational effort and address the most critical, you know, immediate needs of farmers there? I know you've got big farmers there, there's no doubt about it, but you've all over a period of time and your university is engaged in this process. Yeah.
Yes, well, thank you very much. Yeah, you know, I guess one of the things that crosses my mind is when you look at our land-grant universities, many times they're defined as the engines for economic growth, impacting the regions in which they reside as well as the respective states which they serve. And the idea of engines for economic growth means that you don't do this by yourself. You have a partnership here. You have the private-public sector partnership. And, you know, it's really interesting because we're talking here about curriculum and curriculum change. We're talking about extension and outreach. And, you know, we've heard today about the importance of stakeholders. Well, you know, students are important stakeholders. We need to find ways to make sure that they find the relevant jobs, that they're prepared adequately, you know, for the private sector. And we're also talking about other stakeholders, agribusinesses, NGOs, the farmers, and of course the large multinationals that are engaged. Now the question here becomes one of how you develop curriculum, how do you develop outreach programs that are society relevant and really impact on economic growth. And I think that today we heard mentioned one thing, and that was that advisory committees are important. I think it goes beyond advisory committees. I think we have to find ways to engage the private sector, these other stakeholders in the educational process itself. And I think that, you know, we can't wait for these stakeholders to come to us and tell us what they need. I think that we as educators need to reach out to the stakeholders and find out what their needs are. Kind of what, like Max said, you know, an extension, getting faculty members out there to see what the needs are so that they develop the capacity to respond to these needs. Now, it seems to me that there are several ways to do that, and you know, I think that two things that really haven't been mentioned here right now are, number one, attachments. And at least at our institution, one of the things that we do is ensure that all of the students in our program at Ohio State University and Agriculture undergo an attachment prior to their graduation. And the important part of this attachment is that we enlist individuals from the private sector, from agribusinesses, from the government, to in a sense serve as instructors through this attachment process. They're responsible for evaluating the performance of the students in the process and also in a sense guiding them as they develop their term papers or whatever from the attachment process. I think that that type of engagement would also help to make sure that the students produced are society relevant. Our second point here is that advisory committees, yes, I think are important, but if there are ways to engage stakeholders in the educational process itself, perhaps bringing them onto campus to engage them in the curriculum, in interacting with students on campus, is another way to ensure that correspondence, that articulation of the needs of stakeholders with the educational program. I'd simply like to say here too that educational partnerships, higher education partnerships, perform a very important role in this process, learning from one another, informally. And I'd like to mention here that Ohio State University has had a very important partnership here in India over the last 50 years with the Punjab Agricultural University. As many of you know, with the partitioning of India, the Agricultural College of Punjab was in Lyallpur, and so there was a need to create a new institution. We were very fortunate, that is Ohio State University, to have been brought in to help develop this new institution. I'd like to talk about the mutual benefits that have occurred through these partnerships, but also the endurance of these partnerships. I think the important thing to recognize here is that partnerships are institution to institution on paper, but they're effective, and they're effective through faculty interacting with faculty from one institution to another. And as I look back over the 50 years, I think that one of the elements that has permitted this intergenerational continuation of the partnership to occur have been key individuals that we've had who were actually graduates of Punjab Agricultural University and have become faculty members of ours. Professor Tan Lal is here in the audience with us. I consider him to be a key person.